The night my father passed away should have been the worst night of my life. The man who raised me, my hero, was gone. I was shattered, lost in a fog of grief. I came home needing the comfort of my wife, Sarah, needing to feel her arms around me and hear her say everything would be okay. But the house was empty. A cold silence greeted me where warmth should have been. I called her phone again and again. Voicemail. My heart, already broken, started to splinter. Where could she be on a night like this? A message finally came through, but it wasn't for me. It was a notification on our shared family tablet. It's an email from a hotel confirming a booking. My blood ran cold. The booking was for that very night. And the name on the reservation alongside hers wasn't mine. It was Mark's, my so-called best friend, the man who was supposed to be my brother. The pieces of the puzzle clicked into place with a horrifying, deafening clang. While I was holding my dying father's hand, my wife was in the arms of another man.
Ow!
The grief I felt was suddenly eclipsed by a white-hot rage, a betrayal so profound it hollowed me out completely. In that moment, something inside me snapped.
Ow!
The sorrow didn't vanish. It transformed.
Out!
It became fuel. The man who just wanted to mourn his father died that night, and someone else was born from the ashes. Someone cold, calculating, and patient. Revenge wasn't just a desire. It became a necessity. The only thing that could stitch my fractured soul back together. I didn't smash things. I didn't scream. I sat down in the crushing silence of our home, and I started to plan. They thought I was just a grieving husband, weak and distracted. They were wrong. Every tear I shed in public, every somber nod, was part of the performance. Sarah would pat my arm, her eyes full of fake sympathy, and I'd look into them and see nothing but deceit. Mark would clap me on the shoulder, offering his condolences, and I'd have to physically restrain myself from showing the disgust on my face. They were careless, confident in their secret, and that was their first mistake. I started small. I'm an accountant, you see. Numbers are my world. And I know our numbers better than anyone. I began quietly moving assets, redirecting funds into accounts only I controlled. It was a slow, meticulous process, like a spider spinning a web. I set up new companies, created complex financial structures that would be a nightmare for anyone to unravel. Each transaction was a small act of defiance, a quiet promise of the storm to come. Sarah, bless her heart, never once questioned the new documents I asked her to sign. Just some tax planning, honey, I'd say, and she'd sign without a second glance. Next, I turned my attention to Mark. He had a construction business we had started together with my father's seed money. I knew his business inside and out. I started feeding anonymous tips to regulatory agencies about potential safety violations on his sites. Minor things at first, just enough to cause delays and trigger inspections. Then, I used my knowledge of his suppliers to disrupt his material deliveries. A delayed shipment here, a wrong order there. His projects fell behind schedule, his costs spiraled, and his reputation started to take a hit. He became stressed, angry, and paranoid, lashing out at everyone around him, including Sarah. Their perfect little affair was starting to show cracks. The final act was set for our anniversary, the 1-year anniversary of my father's death. I booked a table at the most expensive restaurant in the city, the one Sarah had always dreamed of going to. She dressed up, beaming, thinking this was my grand gesture of moving on, of us rekindling our love. She looked beautiful, I'll admit, but all I could see was the lie. Over champagne and appetizers, I played the part of the doting husband. Then, I slid a large envelope across the table. An anniversary gift, my love, I said. She opened it with trembling, excited fingers. Inside, there were no plane tickets to Paris or deeds to a new house. There were divorce papers. And next to them, a detailed financial statement showing her new net worth, 0. Followed by printouts of every text, every email, every hotel booking. Her face went from ecstatic to confused to pale with horror. Just then, a man walked up to our table. It was a process server, holding a thick stack of documents for her. A lawsuit from Mark's now bankrupt company, naming her as a co-conspirator in a fraud scheme I had expertly framed. Her affair had just become a legal liability. I stood up, placed enough cash on the table to cover the bill, and looked down at her. The woman I once loved, now just a stranger. There was no anger left in me, just a cold, empty satisfaction. By the way, I said, my voice steady, Mark's been served too. I think you two have a lot to talk about. I walked out of that restaurant and didn't look back. It wasn't about the money. It was about taking back my life from the people who tried to destroy it. And as I stepped out into the cool night air, for the first time in a year, I felt like I could finally breathe again. I could finally start to heal. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've been through a tough time, remember that you are stronger than you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.